Caltech's one of the hardest schools to get into. Its incredibly low acceptance rate, along with the small faculty to student ratio, make it an appealing candidate to many top students around the US. Its hyper focus on STEM is really unique, and not many other schools come close to it. In this video, I interview a recent Caltech admit where he shares some valuable insights to you all, which you hopefully take away. Be sure to stick around until the end of the video. Could you start by introducing where you're from and like which high school you went to, your major, and anything in particular that drew you out to do computer science in college?
So I'm from Bases Independent Fremont, and for CS, I was inspired by my parents' work, and also I was originally more interested in like developing systems, but now it's more like AI and how to apply it to real world problems.
Okay, cool. All right. And I know you applied early to Caltech, so what in particular drew you to the school?
Originally, it was a recommendation from a teacher because originally I wasn't going to apply to Caltech at all. And then after looking into it, it's more like it's research opportunity since it's a very research heavy school.
Got it. And it's also really small, so yeah, it makes sense that you'll get a lot of research opportunities in a small class. So could you give us like the quick stats rundown, like your weighted, unweighted GPA, the number of AP exams you took, and like let's say your top five most rigorous high school classes?
So for my unweighted GPA, it's 3.98, and for weighted, it's 4.79. So I took 11 AP courses, but 12 exams because Physics C has 2 exams. And then for most rigorous courses, I think it would be cosmology, multivariable calculus, AP Physics C, and for the last two, I think maybe AP English Language and AP US History because I kind of struggled with those, but I don't know if they were the most rigorous or not.
Okay, cool. And what was your SAT and PSAT score if you took them?
Yeah, I did. So my SAT was on the lower end of things, especially for Caltech students. It was 1530, but I only took it once, so yeah. But for PSAT, I got 1500.
Okay, cool. And did you end up becoming a national merit semifinalist or finalist?
Yeah, I got the scholarship.
Okay, nice. And yeah, I guess moving on, what was your senior year schedule in high school?
So I had college counseling, of course, as everyone in Basis does. And I then had linguistics, which is interesting, but it was my English. And then data structures and algorithms, then cosmology or modern cosmology is the full name technically, and then multivariable slash vector calculus.
Okay, cool. I guess going on to what's next in a college application, what ECs and honors did you end up putting on your application?
Yeah, for extracurriculars, especially on the Common App of the side of things, I just put a bunch of research, like 7 out of the 10 was like research related. And then there was also like table tennis, a club that I co-ran in ninth grade, which was like fun with physics, and then some personal projects.
Okay, cool. And I guess which one would you say was the most impactful?
Yeah. For my side of things, I think for the Caltech application, probably the research, but like mostly when I talked about it in the essays, maybe less in the actual like activity section of the Common App, but I don't really know.
Okay, got it. So I guess which research project was your biggest one, since you
Yeah.
mentioned you had seven?
Yeah, well, I mean, there weren't technically 7 different projects, as like half of them were like internships, and then they were tied to the research projects, which were just a different activity. But I wrote about 7. But the biggest one was related to wildfire prediction, which is in my case, I had 2 related because it was with the same mentors. One was like predicting like how the fire would evolve, like basically would it get smaller, larger, or stay around the same. And then the other one would be is like for trying to predict how much it would emit in like different types of gases or whatever, and or the burn area of the fire. They're interconnected.
Okay, cool. And how did you end up getting a research mentor to work on your projects on?
So I think originally, I don't remember, it was probably, I think it was 10th grade. So I found out that like he was looking for a high schooler specifically. So I contacted him directly and then I got, after like explaining what I did before, so I got the internship for the first year and then we just continued working on projects after that.
Okay, cool. And I guess from your project, what was the main contribution? So I think you mentioned fire prediction, seeing if it would become bigger or smaller. would you say that was a new methodology or like a new software tool, or yeah, what was it?
Well, I don't think it was necessarily like a new methodology since I was trying to tackle a similar problem. Well, I mean like the predicting the size change, right? Is not really a new methodology. I think what I added to that project was the large language. I basically tried to solve the problem using large language models, right? Because large language models, especially at the time, was like a new thing, right? Since I did start this project at like 10th grade. So large language models were pretty new and like applying them to specific research problem spaces was still like underdeveloped, especially for wildfires. So basically, one issue with wildfire prediction is normally when you just send the data to a model, you just get a number or just get an answer, right? There's no explanation since the models can't do that, right? But with a large language model, you can get an explanation for why exactly you would change this way or like why exactly you got this how. Well, I didn't tackle the number aspect because I didn't really do that. So I tried doing a simpler problem, which is just a state change, right? Because there's less possible options. So yeah, I think my contribution was just the attempting to use large language models for the project. Because like
Okay,
if you just get a number, it's like harder to trust, right? Without reasoning. So it's harder to apply to actual use in the real world.
okay. Got it. Yeah, makes sense. So, did you submit your project to any big conferences? I guess high school and like adult professional conferences too.
Yeah. So I submitted it to AGU, which is the American Geophysical Union. So there are two tracks. I mean, like usually most high schoolers would submit to the Bright Stars track, which is only high schoolers, right? And then there's a whole process behind that. There's an interesting story I might tell later. But so I submitted my urban area emissions project to the high school track because I didn't really have too much time to work on it, but I just submitted it anyway because I was juggling that and the large language model project at the same time. And for the large language model project, I submitted it to the main track, where there were some issues since I kind of cheesed the system by submitting it on a Bright Stars account because Bright Stars account are only supposed to submit it to Bright Stars because you get the account for free if you ask and you get accepted. So they did not like that. So I had to pay it eventually, like the actual fee. But I did get into the adult conference. So I was able
Right.
to present on both tracks. One was like an oral presentation, which was the adult track, and then the other was a poster. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And was this during your, I guess, junior year, sophomore year, senior year? When did you do this?
Yeah, it was yeah, 11th grade. It was this wait, no. It was last December.
So 12th grade.
Yeah, 12th grade.
Or
12th grade.
cool. So then, I remember you were deferred from Caltech when you applied early. So you must have included it in your, I guess, letter of continued interest
Yeah,
that you
yeah, I
presented to?
did. Because
Okay.
although I think I did get the notification that I was accepted before, although actually wait, no, I don't think I did. I don't remember.
Okay,
But
that's
like
fine.
I talked about my experience in the letter of continued interest, but I think probably helped a bit.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so did you, in your research work, did you have a team or was it just you and your mentor working on it?
So for this project, it was just me and my mentor working on the project. I was mostly just guided by my mentor. But for like a few other projects, I worked a bit more with other people, but I still didn't really have any projects where I directly worked with other people since it was mostly like tasks being divided between a bunch of people in those projects, and I was just doing my own tasks since I can't really do the complex tasks that grad students can do.
Of course, makes sense. Yeah. Okay. And yes, since you had like such a crazy high school schedule and doing so much stuff with high school, like research, so what hobbies and like activities kept you like sane during your high school experience
Yeah.
and the overall college application process?
College application process, I'm not sure, but I guess gaming, I'm not entirely,
Camping.
I don't know what other hobbies. I didn't really have that many because I spent most of my time just doing the work. But
Okay. Yeah, you
yeah.
must have liked your work. That's good. Okay. This next question. So going on to essays now, do you remember what your Comnap essay was about and what it showcased about you?
Yeah, well, I don't know about showcase, but it was mostly just my experience with wildfires and my research. So, yeah, I ended up writing a lot about it since it was basically my only extracurricular, which is a bit iffy for some schools, especially. But for Caltech, I think it was not that big of an
Yeah, it
issue.
worked out.
Yeah, because I think Caltech likes the more like stacked people in like one
Mhm.
area rather
Right.
than the all-rounders.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. And I remember when I was writing my Caltech essays, like the one rabbit hole question essay was quite confusing. Do you remember what you wrote about in that essay?
Yeah. So I wrote about how I got into coding for that essay. So yeah, all CS, all my essays were about CS, but
Okay,
it
nice.
ended up working because there was a differentiation between regular coding and AI. So that's how I split, like half my essays were on like AI, and I had an essay on coding. I had an essay on some small EE device I built for solving a problem that I encountered because I was really bad at parking in my garage.
Wow, okay, cool. And yeah, so who did you get your letters of rec from then? And did they tie into your, I guess, overall theme of computer science? And how long did you know your writers?
I don't know about how they wrote their essays, so I don't exact or like letter of recs. I mean, so I don't know if they tied in directly.
That's true.
I think so. I got one from my physics teacher, which I knew from sixth grade, and then one from Latin teacher, which I knew since 10th, and then one from my 11th grade English teacher, which happened because originally Caltech didn't accept the Latin teacher's letter of recommendation because they didn't think it was a humanities, but then we like resent it and they got accepted. So I
Oh,
don't know,
nice.
their system didn't really work, but I already asked the English teacher for another rec just in case. So I ended up with three, and then the college counselor, which I knew well since this year, since we got a new one.
Okay, cool. Did you get a rec letter from your, I guess, research mentor?
Oh, yes, I think I did. So for Caltech, during the portfolio section, if for every single research project you want, they want a letter of rec from
Mhm.
the mentor, right? So yeah, I got one from, yeah, my two mentors. So yeah,
Okay,
I wrote four projects, so that's why. So
got it.
but they're both handled by two different people. So one was like projects, which was like the one where I had more teamwork on, where like it was more like a team, and then the other one was like the internship projects, basically.
Mhm. Okay, cool. And yeah, so since you did all this stuff in high school, how did you maintain time management in high school to end up doing so much, like both in research and in taking such hard classes?
I didn't really have that great of time management, to be honest, since all I did was just basically focus on all the work I had to do, so my projects, my homework, whatever. So I didn't really do too much other stuff outside of research and schoolwork, right? So I mean, I just ended up having enough time to finish the work I needed to do, and like if I didn't have time, I would just focus on like what was the most important. But yeah, so I didn't really end up having time to do too much other stuff, but that's how I managed to pull through, I guess.
Okay, cool. And going off of that, did you have any major setbacks in your high school experience or not? And if so, what were they?
I don't really recall any like super major setbacks, except maybe like the college application process, since after getting the first few responses, which were all like rejections, except from TAMU because it was like guaranteed because of national merit semifinalist. It was kind of scuffed, but I mean, it worked out eventually.
Yeah, interesting. So you ended up getting to Caltech,
Yeah.
but if you didn't get into Caltech, what was your next best option?
I think the second best would be USC, and then after that, there's like it's some UC probably, like
Okay.
UC Irvine or something. Like
Okay,
I did not get into that many schools aside
nice.
from
But yeah,
Caltech.
I guess your portfolio was like hyper focused on research, but it worked out for Caltech, which is good. Yeah. So is there anything you would have changed about your high school experience?
Probably not too much. I mean, I think the way that it works out, it worked for Caltech, but like it doesn't really work for like a lot of schools, but like it worked for Caltech. So I mean, I guess it worked. I guess the only thing I'd really change is like apply to less schools because I feel like I applied to a bit too many, and I even applied to on the lower end of school like side of things. Like compared to other people, I didn't apply to that many schools, but I still feel like I applied to too many because there's not really a need to apply to so many schools.
Okay.
Because you're only going to go to one anyway.
Yeah, that's true. So what are your plans in Caltech and after graduation?
So currently, I'm still working on like a research paper for the stuff I presented at AGU, except I'm going to like improve on the work, try to because new large language models have been released since then, and
Hmm.
like there was some issues with the methodology, at least in my opinion, that I could have improved on, and I can probably like change the way I like made the specific problem to make it a bit easier for a large language model. So there's some work there, and writing a paper and trying to get it published is currently what I'm working on. And then in Caltech, I'm not too sure, but I'll probably be continuing my some research. But I don't
Okay.
know because I don't know how much the workload is there. So we'll see.
Okay, cool. So, I guess research-wise, are you gonna focus specifically on like NLP, or are you thinking of branching out?
I'm probably going to branch out because I want to see like what actual stuff there is, like where else AI can be applied to, because like my understanding of other fields is rather limited. But yeah, I think we'll see.
Okay, cool. Do you plan to go to grad school, maybe master's or a PhD, since I guess you really do like research?
Yeah. I'm thinking of probably right now, but I haven't 100% decided. If I do go to grad school, I'll probably go try to get a PhD, but we'll see. Because I don't know how useful a master's degree is nowadays. But then again, since CS is getting a lot tighter, since AI is becoming much better at coding, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, cool. Do you have any final advice to people watching who may be in high school or like in a similar position to you? Like, yeah, I guess unsure of what to do. Any advice you give them?
Yeah. So I think for high schoolers, especially if they're new, have a good relationship with at least one or two teachers, like humanities and a STEM, so you can get a good letter of recommendation. And also, like, it's just good to have connections with the teachers. Like, it's helpful to know them better. And then also, like, for some schools, it's definitely good to focus on like one subject and just like go all in. But like, it is good to also have like more leadership and more community engagement. So it's a lot easier to write essays since there's a lot of those kind of essays on college apps. Luckily, Caltech doesn't really have any, but yeah, the most other schools do, and it's just a lot easier to write and also have more activities to write about, and it's more diverse.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Very nice to talk to you. And congrats once again on Caltech. Research was a key part of Josh's application. His first 7 activities were just on his wildfire research, even though he had a few different internships and a few projects. His projects solved the pressing issue of saving people in wildfires, and he did it by detecting the wildfires earlier and posing new methods of detection. His methods weren't just pre-existing or copied. He saw what was existing and already done and tried to improve them and add something new as a contribution. He took initiative when reaching out to someone to mentor him, and it ended up really well. And he got into Caltech, but he didn't get into any other top 5, top 10 schools, and he mentioned this in our interview. So really, in the end, it only takes one, and the college you get into will hopefully be the best fit for you. Hope you enjoyed this interview, and I'll see you in the next one.